Alright, well, today is Thanksgiving, and like I said, my sister has requested me to start doing videos of the things I make. So, one of the main things that we make as a tradition in my family is green bean casserole. So, this is what I'm going to show you today. I use the French style cut green beans. I'm going to stick them up here on this thing so you can see them. Doesn't have to be any fancy name brand because I'm not sponsored by anybody. Just the French style cut green beans. Those are the ones you really want. And that's what they look like. And then me personally, I use cream of mushroom soup. You can use cream of chicken soup. It's up to you. Doesn't really matter. We went with the cheap stuff because we got a deal on it. So we got these on a deal, and we got these in a 4-pack on a deal. So we got really lucky there. And then I use about a half of one of these to 3/4 of one of these for a regular serving. And these are French fried dried onions. Now, I also got these because I'm making a large serving of it. We are planning on feeding 6 and sending everybody home. The key is you want 2 cans of French style cut green beans to every 1 can of cream of mushroom soup or cream of chicken soup, your option. So, and then you can see these I strain. So we're going to dump these into the pan. You don't want all the juice. You want to strain them out so that you don't have all that juice in there. Otherwise, if you leave the juice, it's going to be icky, really runny. You don't want runny green bean soup. So I'm going to strain the rest of these and dump them in the pot. And then I'll show you how I mix the cream of mushroom soup with the green beans, French style cut green beans. And then, of course, what I do is I mix a small portion of the dried onions in there. Cook that on 325 to 350, depending on how fast I need to cook it, for about 25 to 35 minutes. As soon as it starts bubbling on the edges, you know it's done. So let me strain these and I'll be right back. Okay, so as I was straining these green beans, I thought about it and I'm like, somebody is going to ask, how do you strain the green beans? Okay, there's 2 options. If you don't have one of these handy dandy little guys that fits on the top of your can, you can use the lid. When you open the can, there's that lid that's on there. Just stick it right back on there. And then all you're going to do is, this one has a divot, so it goes right inside. You're going to strain it till all the juice comes out. And then I give it a couple of shakes just to make sure it drips out. You don't want it juicy. Juicy's going to make you have runny stuff, and you don't want runny food. You want it to be a nice consistency. So then you strain it. See, it's just barely dripping. We're going to give it another second or 2 for that drip to slow down. That way all the liquid inside here runs out. You do not have to rinse these. You just have to strain them so there's no water in them. Alright, there you go. Now I'm going to dump these in the pan, and we'll open up the cream of mushroom soup, and I'll show you how to do it. So I'll be right back. Alright, so like I said, 2 cans of green beans to 1 can of cream of mushroom or cream of chicken soup. So, and that 2 cans of green beans with 1 can of cream of mushroom soup is going to feed 4 to 6 people. You'll get 4 to 6 servings out of that. If you squeeze it and you eat small portions, you can get 8 portions out of it. But I am a green bean lover, so of course I eat big portions of green bean casserole. So you scrape out all of the cream of mushroom soup. You are not following the directions on the can to how you're making this. You're simply just adding the cream of mushroom soup to the green bean casserole. when you go when you go to mix it in, you just scoop it in. So I'm going to try to do this one-handed and turn you around. Remember, I'm feeding a feast today, so you're just gonna take your green beans, and there we go. Just turn it in. Now it's not gonna look right in this video for the pure fact that I only have 1 can of cream of mushroom soup in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix the others in. Today I'm using 8 cans of green beans and 4 cans of cream of mushroom soup in order to make this large pan. And just so you know, every time I tell you I'm going to be back, it's because I'm pausing you. I'm pre-recording this. All right? So, hold on just a second. We'll mix the rest of this cream of mushroom soup in, and I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. All right, I'm going to show you again how I'm mixing these the soup in with the green beans. And the technical term for this, when you reach down to the bottom and then pull it up and flip it, it's kind of called folding. You're folding it in. I guess that's a bakery term. I'm not exactly sure, but that's what we do with it. So, I'm going to mix this in. You can see how it's getting nice and sloppy together. That's what you want. So I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that I get all of the beans and the soup mixed together. You will see a little bit of the liquid in there. It will evaporate. Don't worry about it if you see a little bit of runniness in. You just want to try and make sure that you get most of the juice out of the can, because you really don't want runny green beans. They'll just spill all over your plate and just be a complete mess. Alright, got this almost mixed in here. Just double check to make sure that you're mixing it in so it's all blended together. Alrighty, there we go. Now I'll show you what this looks like before I add a small portion of the dried onions to give it more flavor. Alright, here you go. This is what the green bean casserole looks like now. You can see it's all mixed together. You don't have all those green beans by themselves. It's nice and soupy, but not too soupy. Now, because I made green bean casserole last week, I have the perfect amount of onions for this today. So I'm going to top them off with this at the end, which I will show you when the green bean casserole is done. But we're going to use this container, especially with how big this serving is. This pan is quite a big pan, so we're going to use this big one. Open it up. And these I'm going to sprinkle on the top, and then I'm going to also mix them in. I'm going to fold them in so that you have the flavor of the onions in with your creamy mushroom and green bean casserole. So let's flip you around so you can see this. I don't know how good I'm doing at this cooking show thing, but it was requested, so this is what we're doing. You can see how I'm just flipping it over and folding them in, because these ones are going to cook in and be nice and soft, but they're also going to give you a better flavor in your green bean casserole. So we just swishy is what I call it. Stirring things up, I call it swishy. So as you guys watch my videos, you'll see that my verbiage and language is not like most people, so just hang in there with me. Alright, now I did not put all of the mushrooms in here yet, or not mushrooms, all of the onions in here yet, because it's not all the way stirred in. So we're just going to flip you over here and sit you on the counter so that I can get it mixed in good. Trying to mix one-handed is not so easy. Alright, I'll go ahead and put the rest of these onions in there. Now, like I said, this is a big portion. You do not have to use that much, and I like the onion flavor. You can get a bag like this and only use a quarter of it while you mix it in, especially if you're just doing a small portion for your family. 2 cans of green beans, 1 can of cream of mushroom or cream of chicken soup. Just use, you know, enough. I'll show you in a minute how it looks. You don't really want a lot of these onions sticking out the top. You want to mix them in just like you mixed in the soup. The onion gives it more flavor, but it's optional. This is just how I was taught to make it. It's an old family recipe. We've always made it this way for holidays. We eat it at other times too, but alright, there we go. Now let me flip you around here so you can see how it's all mixed in. Mixed in well. You can see there's you want to make sure all your onions are mixed in with your green beans. There's no dry parts sticking out. And now I'm going to go ahead and stick this. I usually go ahead and do this little fancy thing where I level it out just so I know it's going to cook evenly. You don't have to. It's just part of my OCD and what I do. But now you can see it's a pretty pan of green bean casserole ready to be put in the oven and cooked. Now this big one, this big pan like this, I'm going to put it in the oven at 325 because that's what our ham is cooking at. So I'm going to put this in the oven for 325. It is in an aluminum pan, not a glass pan or a metal pan. If it's in a metal pan, 325, you're going to cook it for 45 minutes. 350, you're going to cook it for 30 to 35 minutes. Check it at 30 minutes, and then you'll see if the soup on the edges is bubbling, and because that's how you want to do it. You want to cook it till the soup starts to bubble. With this aluminum pan at 325 and how big it is, I'll probably cook it for 35 minutes because the aluminum is a lot thinner than glass or metal. Glass sometimes will take longer to heat up, so that's why the time kind of varies. And since we're at a crunch, so we're gonna cook it the best that we can so that it's ready for Thanksgiving dinner. But that's basically all you do with it. So I'll cook it, and when it's bubbling, I'll come back. I'll show you what it's supposed to look like, and then I will take it out, top it with these. Little bit what's left to make it look pretty, and then I'll just heat it up for like 5 to 10 minutes just so those onions get a real pretty golden brown. So we're gonna go ahead and do that here in a little bit. So I will come back when I've shoved it into the oven and it's already cooked. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like my channel, subscribe to it so you can see all these other wonky videos that I do. And I will be back shortly to show you what the cooked green bean casserole is supposed to look like before we top it off with those French fried green onions. Alright, well, the ham's going to take about another hour or so to cook. And we can't put the green bean casserole underneath the ham or it will interfere with the ham cooking. So we'll go ahead and end this video and I'll do a part 2. So that I can still use my phone for other things. I'll come back with the part 2 of how to finish off the green bean casserole. Alright, until then, thank you for watching. Remember, you are someone, you matter, I love you, and I will see you on part 2 of how to make green bean casserole. Until then, ciao now!